With the dawn of a new generation comes the end of another, and as saddening as it is to say, Generation 7's time is nearing its end. Pokemon Sword and Shield are on the horizon, and the second they hit store shelves, Generation 8 will take its first steps into this world, and while it's definitely sad to say goodbye to Alola, I'm super excited to journey to Galar. Generation 7 had some missteps, and no, I don't think it was the best generation we've had yet, but you've heard all of that before. I've said some bad things about Generation 7, everyone else has too, but it's time to be done with the Gen 7 bashing, you know? I had a lot of good memories with the Generation 7 games. I mean, good or bad, Pokemon games are always memorable for one reason or another. It's just Pokemon creates memories. So yeah, I just wanted to send off this generation and these games on a higher note before they inevitably fade into irrelevancy. And I know Birdkeeper Toby made this same kind of video a few weeks ago, but you're gonna have to trust me when I tell you that I've been working on this video for nearly a month and a half. Anyway, for most people, Generation 7 started when they released the Generation 7 Pokemon games, those being Sun and Moon on November of 2016. But for me and my experiences, it all started back during the 20th anniversary on Pokemon Day. It was the day they revealed Sun and Moon, and I was already getting back into Pokemon because I started watching a lot of Twitch streamers, so I was in a Pokemon mood. And they skipped releasing a main Pokemon game for 2015, so I was as ready as I had ever been for a new game. When Sun and Moon were announced, I guess I had an epiphany or something, and I came up with the extremely original idea of making a video counting down my hopes for the new games. The video quality was off the charts, and to this day it's probably my highest quality video.
Talking about Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, and what I would like to see from them. It's been about a week and a half since the official announcement of Sun and Moon, and we do not know very much about it other than the titles and the logos.
Alright, I'm just kidding, but honestly, that video laid the groundworks for what this channel would become. A Pokemon YouTuber that I really enjoyed and still enjoy watching commented on that video, and he was my biggest inspiration to start YouTube, so little baby me was excited when that happened. Needless to say, I am very grateful for Sun and Moon for helping me start content creation. That summer, we got our very first look at the games, and in the trailer we were shown the starters, Litten, Rowlet, and Popplio, and I loved all of them, but that being said, I was set on Litten then and there, and it has always been my favorite of the Alola starters since. One of my biggest memories with Litten was during my Ultra Sun playthrough. I chose Litten again, but this time I decided I wasn't going to evolve it. I kept it as a Litten for the entire playthrough, and in the end, it was what won me the final battle against Hal. I'll never forget that playthrough. Throughout the summer, we got what seemed like a reveal after 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 reveal. We were getting one new trailer like every other week, which was a vastly different approach than they are taking with Sword and Shield. Some of the best Pokemon were revealed over this summer of trailers. My favorites include Vikavolt, Mimikyu, Bounsweet, and all of the Alola forms. In fact, wait, hold on, I can't believe I haven't talked about the Alola forms yet. What the heck, these were like the best thing Generation 7 gave us. This just makes the Pokemon world feel so much more real, and I mean, there are regional variants in the real world, like, I don't know, like a horse and a zebra or something. It's just something that we didn't really know we wanted until we got it. Yeah, it was kinda lame that they only did Generation 1 Pokemon, but it was the 20th anniversary, give them a break. And plus, now we know for sure that they're doing more than just Generation 1 Pokemon in Sword and Shield. Also during the summer was the release of Pokemon Go. Think about the Pokemon community right now, how there is basically an internal civil war going on between the people who don't want the national dex back and the people who don't really care. Now imagine the exact opposite of that, and that's basically how the Pokemon community and beyond was whenever Go came out. I mean, everyone was playing it and talking about it. Nobody cared about what you thought about arbitrary things like the dex, just good old-fashioned fun. From what I remember, in the fall of that year, reveals started to slow down a little, but they did release a demo for the games that definitely quenched my thirst for that time being. The game got data mined shortly after, and all the Pokemon were revealed early, and as much as I wanted to stray away from the leaks, I couldn't keep my hands off of them. I think that might have deterred from the experience of the games, but honestly, I have no regrets. The games were released on November 18th, 2016, and I was as hyped as ever to play them. I honestly think that these were the Pokemon games I was most hyped for, and even though I am extremely excited for Sword and Shield, I really don't think anything is gonna beat the anticipation I felt for Generation 7. I was so hyped for the games that my parents even agreed to fly my best friend over from across the country so that him and I could play our first Pokemon game together in person since Black and White 2 were released. We both ordered our copies from Amazon because we did not understand what a midnight launch was. And let's be honest about the games themselves, they weren't the best Pokemon games when comparing them to others, but I still think they have become pretty underrated. We talked about it earlier, but these games introduced quite possibly the best thing to come from the recent Pokemon games, regional variants. Also, this generation is definitely top tier when it comes to world building. They teased it in the Delta episode, but this gen builds upon the fact that there are different universes in the Pokemon world. It brought back characters from past games like Professor Burnett from the somewhat obscure spin-off game Pokemon Dream Radar. Colress also made a cameo in the games during the story and at the battle tree, where other characters like Cynthia, Red, and Blue were all able to be battled. This game also brought back Looker, who seems to appear every generation, but we also had a cameo and battle tree appearance from Grimsley, the Elite Four member from Black and White. Sinna and Dexio also appeared in Alola after following the trainer around in Kalos. Overall, these games just felt more connected than others, and that fact is even more so whenever we see the return of older villains in the form of the Rainbow Rocket episode in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Sun and Moon ended up being the second game that I completed the Pokédex on. I mean, in ORAS it's a little more impressive since I completed the national dex, but it was just as fun in Sun and Moon completing the regional dex. Me and that friend of mine that I mentioned earlier ended up completing the Pokédex by working together, and we finished it exactly right before he had to leave for his flight back home, and now that he is my current roommate in college, I'm excited to get to do that again in Galar. Sun and Moon were some of the most laid-back Pokemon games in my opinion. Even though whenever you get to the bottom of it, island trials are just disguised gyms, they still felt much less serious as opposed to gym battles. Also, there isn't really a giant conflict looming in the background, at least for the first half of the game. I mean, Sun and Moon did have a big story when it comes to Lusamine and the Ultra Beasts, but from what I remember, that doesn't really pick up until around right after the third grand trial. The villains that are around for most of the game is Team Skull, and damn, I love these guys. It's just because of the fact that they are bad at being bad, which ended up making them more comic relief compared to other villainous organizations like Team Galactic, who had otherworldly aspirations. Most of their wrongdoings are just petty crimes, which makes a whole lot of sense because in real life, Hawaii has a ton of petty crimes. And while we're on the topic of characters, I think this generation has some of the best characters and designs. Lillie is an amazing character and she has her own little arc throughout the game, and she actually feels like the protagonist more than the player character does in this case. And the storyline between Lillie and Gladion colliding is one of the best parts about the game. Characters like Hau, Hala, and Professor Kukui help attest to this as well. I mean, design-wise, they are just straight up chilling. At the beginning of the game, there is a festival where you battle Hau on a platform thing, and that's a lot of fun, and it helps to show off the life and culture of the Alola region. This game doesn't get enough appreciation for its soundtrack, I think. I mean, it has hands down some of the best songs in Pokemon, so many that I probably couldn't tell you my favorite song from these games. Hau'oli City is the perfect amount of jazz for a Hawaii-based town, and Malie City is a perfect song for the type of city it's based on. Seafolk Village has both elements from the sea and from folk music, and you can't help but dance to the boutique theme. The Pokemon League title defense fits so well as it's a version of the main Pokemon title theme. Another really good song was Paniola Town, the night version specifically. The harmonica is one of my favorite instruments, and I'm glad it's getting some use here. Another song from Sun and Moon that doesn't get enough love would be Farewell Solgaleo / Lunala. It's the song that plays when Lillie is saying goodbye to Nebby, and it's a somber but somehow cheerful song using remixed parts of Lillie's theme. Goodbyes always tug at my heartstrings in real life and in video games, and it was no different here. And there's plenty of other great songs from Alola, but I don't have time to cover them all in this video. But who knows, maybe I'll make another video talking about Pokemon music later down the line. In terms of new Pokemon, these games hit the jackpot. I honestly don't think there's a single bad design for a Generation 7 Oh, okay, well, I think there's only actually like one bad Generation 7 design, but honestly, like looking through these designs, the Pokemon are all great in their own ways. The starters all make sense to me. A cute first form, awkward kind of middle stage, and a fully grown final stage. Some of my favorite Pokemon include Incineroar, Decidueye, Silvally, Tapu Koko, Nebby, Poipole, and Lycanroc. But my all-time favorite of the Generation 7 Pokemon has to be Steenie. Whenever Steenie was announced, I don't really know what crossed my mind. I just honestly started to really like this Pokemon. Plus, when it evolves, it becomes Serena. And have you seen this thing? This bitch is thick as f. During this generation, I also got back into the TCG because of an online friend that I roomed with at PAX East in 2017. They are really into the TCG, and at PAX East, we went to a booth that was selling cards, so I bought a few packs of Sun and Moon, and I pulled a secret rare Solgaleo GX. By the end of that weekend, I had bought an entire booster box of Pokemon cards to take home, so as you can see, I got back into it a lot. Since then, I've bought way more Pokemon cards than I'm willing to admit, and I've actually gotten to playing the TCG. Like literally any other competitive game, I suck at it, but it's a pretty fun game, and I'm excited for the first Sword and Shield set of Pokemon cards. Just like last generation, the Pokemon anime was one of the biggest highlights of this generation. Unlike previous series, this anime took the journeying across a region aspect and put it aside for a more slice of life approach. Not only that, but the animation is gorgeous. It's so colorful and fluid. I love the X and Y animation as well, but this has to be my favorite animation animation style for any Pokemon anime series. The characters in the show are some of my all-time favorite in the series. Sophocles is a little bratty and annoying, but I enjoy his inventive personality, and honestly, I'm a fan of his character design. Lana's character is hilarious, and they definitely translated her trickster personality into the anime well. She's just a breath of fresh air for me. Kiawe has to be one of Ash's best rivals. I expected him to be the hard-headed and always serious guy, but he is far from that, and I really like him because of it. Mallow gets a lot of credit because she is one of the few characters in the Pokemon anime that made me cry, because of this episode where Tapu Fini's mist allows her to properly say goodbye to her mother, who passed away when she was a child. Lillie surprised me. At the beginning, I just thought she was a whiny girl about not being able to touch Pokemon, but there's actually a pretty tragic backstory behind that. By the end, she takes up her father's research and finally awakens the Magearna that her father left behind. Another character that brought an interesting dynamic into the series was Rotom-Dex. He became one of the best and funniest additions of this series, and he might actually be my favorite part of the Alola anime. The dynamic Ash has with Professor Kukui and Professor Burnett is something super special. Obviously, Ash has his mom, but as far as I'm concerned, Kukui and Burnett are basically Ash's parents, and it was heartbreaking to see them part ways in the final episode of the Sun and Moon anime that came out today. I'm gonna miss all of these characters going forward. Also, this series harbors what I now believe to be the greatest battle in the entire Pokemon anime. The exhibition match between Ash and Kukui after Ash was crowned the Alola champion. They foreshadowed this all throughout the anime, and the payoff was incredible to say the least. Champion Ash. That has a nice ring to it. So I think overall, Generation 7 wasn't bad in my opinion. It took some missteps and the tutorials were definitely too long, but I mean the positives that I listed in this video outweigh the negatives. All of the criticisms out of the way, I'm gonna miss Generation 7. It's always gonna hold a special place in my heart for the emotional storytelling, the diverse array of Pokemon, and the gorgeous environments to walk through. So before Sword and Shield come out in 2 weeks, make sure to pick up your copy of Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Moon and say Alola to all of the Pokemon you first met here, to all the characters you journeyed with, to the cities and islands you visited, the music you listened to, and the memories you made. I know I'll be back to Alola someday in the future, but for now, I'm taking my journey to the Galar region. So this goes out to the Alola region and the many memories that it gave me. My name is Shiny Zoroark, and to Alola, I bid you adieu.